setbacks always puts us into perspective, no?
Mhm.
And then teaches a lot of lessons. And I always tell people this, that setback is not what you call setback as dictionary would call it, but it's you being set to the back so that you'll be able to see the whole bigger picture. And for you, once you see the whole bigger picture, you get to let it sink in and you learn a lot of lessons. Quotable quotes from
Wonderful.
Coach Pao, everybody. So anyway,
Yeah,
so,
wonderful.
Tel. Alright, welcome to another episode of the Goy Academy again.
Don't keep up with the energy.
There you go.
Only to realize that it takes a wrong foot to get to the right direction.
Eventually, you're gonna learn something.
Oysters are actually very fascinating because they're deep sea dwellers.
We can't do much, but at the same time, we can do more, diba?
So for me, to lead is to empower others.
One thing that I try to do is I try to help people as much as possible.
Get rid of that jerk.
Oh my
Thanks for being here. I like this. I brought my coffee.
Yes. I'm not joking.
Hi, good day, truth seekers. Welcome to the Unspoken Truth with DGY Academy. I am Cristel.
And I am Paolo, and we are here to fuel your curiosities. Dive with us as we uncover the unspoken truth of people from different walks of life.
Hi, Coach. Kamusta? Grabe.
Okay lang. Muntik mong sabihin na hi, Sam, no?
Nasanay ako from the first season si Sam yung kasama natin. But it was a nice ride, right, Coach?
Yeah, it was a nice ride, and I'm very excited for this second season, no? Because as you all can see, I will be the one hosting from this time on, moving forward for the next episode that we will have. And I'm very excited to have our guest for tonight, Tel.
Yes, Coach. And yeah, without further ado, pakilala na natin sila. Our guests for today, madami sila. They are athletes and they are very passionate about sports and development with the youth. They are also the founders of Game on the Sports that brings the quality of sports programs that aims to ignite every child's potential to discover the joy of sports and build core values. I'd like to welcome to the show Coach Danica, Coach Crisan, and Coach Dia. Hello po.
Hello,
Hi.
Daniel and Coach Pao. How are you?
Good
We're good.
evening.
Ayan, very listeners. Now I'm actually very excited to have this episode also because I was part of their organization a couple of months back, and seeing them thrive even during the pandemic excites me. Kaya excited ako ngayon.
Same for
So sana
you,
excited
Coach
din kayo
Pao.
nakikinig.
Definitely.
So yeah, no, I think that to start the ball rolling, I just want to just a catching up question. How is everybody? How are you guys doing now, Coach Leah?
Well, I'm good. I'm fresh from the outside world. But yeah, it's been quite a ride actually the past year. A lot of changes in and outside the organization in our personal lives, and I'm just glad that we're doing quite okay right now. Yeah.
Yeah. I
That's
think
really
this,
nice,
th-
no?
yeah, this
What's that?
pandemic, a lot of challenges, varying degrees of challenges in different aspects. I think we can say personally, I mean, of course, foremost is the health of like every person. That's been really the top of mind for loved ones as well, and of course for the team and the organization. That's always been priority, and also, yeah, different circumstance. We have different aspects, also work and everything. So that's been in a tight balance. So just really looking out, a lot of self care, I would say, over these last
Totoo
few
yan.
months. So really wonderful to actually be able to share that and discuss a bit of that today too. Yeah.
I'm doing
Coach
okay
Rizal.
naman din. Along with them, I'm very, very blessed, to be working with these two guys also. All throughout, we were each other's constants. We'd meet every
Yeah.
week, actually, and we'd talk almost
Mm,
every day. So I think that kind of really helped our sanity, so to speak.
exactly.
I
Yeah.
think one of the things that the pandemic really brought is, people at home, you get to spend more time actually with your families if there's anything, and then you realize how valuable the time is. And with the pandemic, that life is really short. You really have to make the most out of it.
Yeah, and then and I see that you're really doing great. No, seeing Game on Sports thriving, especially ang dami nyo ng events. You're inviting different athletes also to encourage your different athletes also on your end. No? Nakakatuwa lang to start thinking that we started in a small bunch of before when it was
Yeah.
you guys,
Alam
and
mo
then
yan, coach.
meeting on
Founding days.
Sundays.
Founding
Remind
days.
me, coach, yung Excel sheet mo, di ko pa nagsulat ng program. Sorry, coach, hindi ka lang.
Yung report card mo, Coach Pao. Yung report card.
Oo nga. So,
May
mga
utang ka pa
ganung
ngayon,
bagay.
coach, sa report card.
Coach, parang kulang. Taka lang, sorry. Tapusin ko. On a personal experience, I really miss the organization also. I
And
think
we miss you.
thank you very much. I'm flattered. So I think for medical reasons also at that time. But I think before going to the meat of the questions, meat talaga, no? But I just want to ask also, how did you guys start? So not Game on Sports, but in life in general, and how did you guys meet to put up the organization right now? Yeah. Si Coach Lian na naman tayo.
Well, ano ba? We were just connected through Kazan, actually. So kami ni Dikay, we weren't exactly, we didn't know each other before. Except that when Kazan decided to, put us together to put up Game on Sports, that's the only time we really, had that synergy and brought out our strengths. So, how did we start? Well, matagal na namin plano yung Game on Sports, sa totoo lang. Before the pandemic. And it was born out of our passion to get more kids into sports, for them to learn the values out of sports. So, we wanted to design a program. We wanted a camp that would be able to do that for kids. And it just so happened when we were just about to launch March of last year, yun na nag-pandemic. and mind you, like we were going through we were screening people na, we were pulling in our coaches, the team, setting it up na talaga for physical camps. But then the only way to go is to survive, and that was for us to pivot how we were rolling out our camp. So our first camp, I think, happened June, no, Krizan, Dikay? So June, and
Yes.
we went digital, we went virtual, and from then on it was all about adapting, asking for feedback, adapting again, and trying to improve lang from then on. Yeah.
But all three of you guys were athletes.
Yeah.
No? Oh, that's really nice. Which school nga, Coach
Yes.
Lee?
You will find the odd one.
The right one out there. So, right before your eyes are three generations of basketball.
Oh, that's the age-old joke.
Yeah,
Fine, okay, I'll let you throw one.
Yung kanina pinag-uusapan namin, Coach Lee, talagang we went to the other side when that was brought up before we started. Okay, go. Go, Coach Lee. Todohin mo na.
So actually, well, yung common denominator naman namin is yung sport that we grew up playing. That was basketball. We're bound by our love for basketball, in fact. Si Dikay, si Krizan, they're from Ateneo, but I'm from LaSalle. Therefore, the good synergy. Oh, kala mo.
Oh, understanding people from different sides, diversity. Yeah.
Everything covered.
Pero we really met through Girls Got Game, which is a non-profit na organization that teaches young girls the basics of different sports. So that was an organization founded by Krizan and Nika. And yeah, I just volunteered there, became part of their core team, and yeah, that's how we all really met.
That's really great, no? That one instance, one situation was actually brought up. Who would have known my game on sports in the future?
Yeah.
No, but if I may ask for Coach Krizan and Coach Danica, how did your how would I say? How did your sports or athlete's life influence what you're currently doing now in Game On Sports?
Yeah. I would say definitely our being athletes from before. I think we all started at a very young age, and basketball as a sport for girls not so popular, since they already said age by order. At least during my time, and well, I think even till now, right? Basketball not as popular with girls, the way that we would really want it. Of course, there have been headways for that, but being challenged in that way, playing with boys, and kind of beating the stereotype that comes around with that, was also part really of the environment by which we were exposed to. And like right now, I'm doing a lot more research about how leadership is brought about through this, and the development of people, especially for the young. And Tel, in her introduction, said that we're very passionate about how we can form the younger generation in terms of that. So we really feel that sports is a very, very good environment to harness that. And actually, not just sports, but create future leaders as well. So when it comes to, I oversee the coaches and the programs development. A lot of those are very much integrated. So you had mentioned about report cards earlier in your personal experience. We talk about lesson plans and values. So we're very intentional there. Intentional about integrating all those. So as much as we want the kids to have fun, to really have a good time learning the skills, it's also about what they can pick up so that later on in life, they have these skills as well, life skills is what we call it, about respect, discipline, which is really the heart of sports. So yeah, that's for me very, very strongly.
To add to Danica's points, I think one of the reasons why we started, because sport is very close to our hearts. Like both Leah and Danica mentioned that. At a very young age, we were given a chance actually to choose the kind of sport or the sport that we want to pursue. So in the Philippines, we realized, talking to different parents, trying to gauge also how these things are decided. There's a mentality for parents actually to push their kids to the sports that they're familiar with or that they came from. No? So if I grew up, I'm a parent, I play basketball, my daughter, my son will play basketball. That's the first parang, because that's familiar and that's understandable totally. So, but when we were younger, parang, we were actually given a chance to try different sports. And then from there, we were able to discover, which sport do I want to get into? I mean, regardless of which sport it is, that discovery space is discovery aspect is so important in a child's love for sport. Kasi if they fall in love at an early age, they will go through it from start all the way to the end. And that's what one of the things that we really take pride in doing this in game on sports or integrating it. Because not every kid will always have that chance. So we want it to be readily available, no? And easy for parents to actually, and we encourage them to have this conversation with their child on what kind of sport or what kind of sport they want to pursue in the long run. And I guess that speaks for us then on a personal level because I grew up also playing sports and I was given a chance to do it. And I chose basketball, which is a male sport. And where I work in my career as an FX trader, exchange trader in the bank, it's actually a male dominated society. And if not for sports, it wouldn't help me to bring where I am today. So
Ang galing lang, no? And I totally agree with the values that what that game on sports inculcated in the organization. I think because there are there are also a lot of organizations that teaches sports, but what's missing is the values that can be learned, no? The honing of characters that is. Kasi I think, as you said, no, it's the most important thing. Okay nga, magaling ka, but if character check, no, bagsak ka, what's the point of all that? And then I totally agree with that. I grew up also handed down sport, basketball. My dad used to be part of the national team. Batch nila Alan Kaidik. That
Oh,
is
wow. Yes.
Boy
Legend.
Mora, Samboy Lim, mga
Yeah.
ganon.
Oh, yeah.
classic.
So classic
Yeah.
people, sila Tito Sam. So it's all. I remember my dad would also tell me, no, that you have to hone your character, despite that you're good at basketball, but I didn't follow his steps anymore. I'm too short to play, so I found it that
You
fun.
found your way, a different path and a different,
Yeah,
mission.
that's true. And I remember, I think one of the first values that we taught in Game on Sport when I was part was patience. I remember, parang alala ko yun, patience. So that's really great. No, that's understand. And I think Miss Tel has a question for you guys also.
Yeah.
Yes po, parang I am very curious lang po, like how and when did the games on sports started po? Was it like nagkita-kita po ba kayo sa isang event tapos biglang napag-usapan na tara gawin natin to? And we'll also wanted to ask lang din po, like paano po kayo nag-come up with the name na game on sports?
We would defer to Krizan, like how she brought us together. She has a knack for pulling people and really that's her strength really. I would totally give that to Krizan. Like just identifying and knowing us from before, and I guess just finding. So maybe Krizan can tell the story of how she brought all of us together.
Happy to pass the hot potato. I joke like yeah. So for Game on Sports, no, when we started, because like Leah mentioned earlier, no, so as actually one of the co-founders of Girls Got Game, along with Nika Arcelia, and when we started that, it was a non-profit. So every non-profit will, is usually dependent on donations, whatever sponsors that you get, no. But at the end of the day, I was thinking long term, no. You want to be financially independent and sustainable. And with that, thinking ahead, you should be able to establish a for-profit corporation that actually funnels and supports a non-profit organization. And that's where the idea was starting to come in. And the low-hanging fruit is the strength of, rolling sports camp. And while the Girls Got Game at that time was focused really on underprivileged girls, this endeavor is focused on also building character through sports, whether guys or girls, all kids of all ages, and being able to get that first step into discovering sports. So that was the idea behind it, rolling different sports camps as well. And I was thinking, I like working in teams. I mean, we're all team players, so we're used to working in teams and finding the right people. And I automatically knew already in my mind who I wanted to pull in. So I worked with Leah. She was heading logistics in Girls Cup game at that time. So I knew she would be perfect for the operations role. And I knew Danica long before. I won't say how long. Baka magalit siya.
Long before
Grabe kayo maka-long before. Parang, yeah. Anyway,
Sorry, you guys.
continue. We knew
But
each
yeah,
other long before.
ikaw na nagsabi, hindi ako. So, DK is it's been my parang ate, when it comes to sports, life, etc. And I knew she was, she owns, she's the founder of Torch, Training and Consulting. So training is really parang deeply rooted in DK's heart, and that's her strength, no? So I was thinking, yeah, I need the best people for this in order for this to run. My hat is more on business development, finance, getting everything together, pulling people in, and making the ship run on its own. No? But without the perfect people, it wouldn't happen. So I just talked to them for I just pitched the idea. Let's do this. You guys are everyone has the same hat in love for sports. That's the I would say the most important ingredient. Because if you don't, sport is not rooted parang deep into your heart, you won't fall in love with this pitch that I just told them. So they were perfect. So we just met up. I just brought them in a coffee shop, and I said, yeah, meet. Yeah, let's do this. So that's where that's how Game On Sports started. I think the second question, I'll go to that first, is how the name, no? We had a lot of iterations for the name. It's so difficult. But we wanted to find something more positive. Say, we're always game and very affiliated to sports. So parang one look, automatically, without the word sports, the Game On Sports, automatically it's affiliated to something athletic, something leading to sports. And most importantly, building a mentality and that character that you can actually feel from the name, and that we ask our kids to say it at the end. Let's say "Game On" with their Game On poses.
Yeah,
So,
start and end.
Definitely.
Yeah, it was, mind you, it was well thought of, na if you could visualize it, nakailang scratch paper na kami dyan. Na konti na lang, ifo-fold na namin yung company. Hindi pa namin start.
Just because of the name.
We were really mindful of the name. Even the logo, the colors, everything.
Yeah. Because I think it's also a reflection. No. It's a reflection and an extension of what we're very passionate about. So yeah.
Parang syempre po pag parang nagpupunta po tayo ng isang business or ng isang organization, parang gusto natin talaga, or hindi parang, gusto talaga natin perfect siya and nag-represent talaga siya ng brand or kung ano po yung gusto nating iparating sa ibang tao. But
exactly.
You mentioned po a while ago, choosing the perfect people in the organization, parang I'd like to highlight din po, like how do you choose the perfect people na isinasama po natin sa organization? Like for Game On Sports po.
Face value.
that was the first so yan, diba?
Tama yan kasi yung mga natanggap naman sa Game On Sports,
Ayan na.
Yung mga natanggap naman sa Game On Sports, matindi yung face value. Lalo na yung mga nagsimula.
We can vouch for the selection process, diba? Ay, nako.
So, getting aside, I think Coach Danica, I would want you to answer this. Parang how do you, since you've also have your own organizations, maybe Coach Lee also could chip in also on the idea. Like, how do you, for those that are listening right now, parang how do you choose the right people for your organization? Kasi it's easy to start, actually, to conceptualize, write your vision board, put up your business plan. No, you can do it alone, but to actually have the right people on board and have checks and balance on what you wrote, and that's a different story. And I think it's by far one of the hardest thing to do, because you might have the wildest and greatest idea, but you don't have the right people on the boat. Sooner or later, the boat will sink. So yes. How do you?
Definitely, completely agree. So the common denominator would be passion for sports. But we're specifically in the space for kids, right? So that plays a crucial role in our selection. So we would definitely look at experience, but also in the way that they engage with kids. Because as you know, especially when we you pivoted, I would say, to the online space, uh, communication, engagement with the kids, really making sure that they are having fun is critical to make sure that the classes, they stay on and they really want to come back. So those are really crucial things, like passion for sports, but also passionate about teaching kids. And so a lot of the people that we have on board would have experience in that area. And we would see also, if not for the experience, is that they have a heart for it, that they would really want to be patient. You said that the value earlier, patient, especially when kids don't feel like it. Diba, bagong gising lang, bagong ano lang sa nap, hindi nakanap. So, would have the patience to actually teach still the kids and ask them to have fun. The other thing, very important for the pillars for us, is definitely continuous improvement, continuous learning, because for us, we're very much built, our organization is very much built on our feedback for each other. The three of us, the three founders here, we're very open to each other. We have our, our different aspects of what we look into. Leah on operations, Krizan on many different aspects, finance and business development and all, and marketing, and I on coaches and programs development. But we always readily, share our ideas, and we encourage the same for the people inside. So our coaches have a direct line with us. All the members of our operations, we encourage them to give feedback. Our classes integrate, you know this very well, like after our sessions, we have our debrief and all that. So this is very much part of the culture that we want to build, because we know that it's not just on us, but on the ideas of other people. And even new members have that environment where they are safe, to actually express themselves. So I think those are very important, especially for a startup organization such as ours, a young one. It definitely will not thrive if not for that encouragement to have courageous conversations with each other. So yeah, that's the culture for us, very important.
Oh, that's really nice, no? Ang galing dan kasi, well, experience-wise, I would attest to that, no?
It's so good that we have somebody kind of to validate what we're saying, or maybe disagree. Like I didn't see that, but yeah.
Well, ako naman on that end, but I saw that with Coach Leah messaging every now and then, no? Even Coach Zan greeted me happy birthday last week. Oh, Coach, thank you.
Yes,
so, and
yes.
Then you, Coach Danica, I would remember messaging also me and giving me pointers and all those kind of things to just improve more, no? And I think on the coach's end, it's that would something that, especially if the coach has a learner's heart, no, is open to learning, and it would be very, very much appreciated yung mga ganung bagay. And I think Miss Tel has a question, and he's very curious on this also.
Another question that I have po, like, what are the vision and mission of the sports po? Can you share us po about it?
May expert
Yeah.
kami dyan. Hindi ako. Go, take it away.
Take it away. Alam mo na kung sino ka. Friend.
Ano ba yun?
Go.
No, this is actually, it's wonderful because we were just recently talking about this. So definitely our mission is, what you guys had said, is to help the kids discover the joy of sports and the values that come along with it. So we a lot of the kids that we have are not necessarily what we would call athletic. We actually want to break that idea that you have to be athletic to get into sports. And so any kid that actually does stretching and does the exercise, touches a basketball or a football or a volleyball for the first time, is a win for us, because we're getting them into not just a sport, maybe falling in love with it, but into a lifestyle. And we know how important that is, right? We talk about that holistic growth. So if Game On is part of that journey, that they can discover the joy that comes along with it and the values that come along with it. That's our mission, definitely. And well, for our vision, it's really that holistic idea for everything that has to do with sports for kids. That's really the space we want to play in. So a lot of exciting things that are in store, but I think we're really building on that foundation right now of sports classes. But yeah, lots of exciting things. So it's a good thing to ask also, Del. I don't know. I'm sure the other founders would have also other things for the future.
Thank you for that. No, I have a follow-up question actually. I actually have a lot of questions for you guys na hindi nasali sa guide questions na nasend namin sa inyo. And if you've already noticed, most of the questions that's really being brought to you to everybody are not in the guide questions that we sent you. I'm a very flowy person when it comes to interviewing. But so I think to follow up, this is just also for the listeners and the viewers that's watching. It's I'm now leaning towards starting up an organization, especially now that we're in the pandemic. So I think to follow up the question on the vision and the mission, how do you actually write them, no? And how do you write them in such a way that it will traverse and thrive? I don't like the word survive, and thrive now that we're in the pandemic. So yun, anyone can answer.
Yeah.
I thought Celia. I thought Celia.
No. Go ahead, Dikay.
Well, I'm sorry because we were okay. Anyway, but yeah, when it comes to checks and balance for and how well the mission and vision is actually going, it's a lot of discussions, definitely, for the leaders, but also checking. We said no, feedback is very important. So that our teams, we have our individual teams, we make sure that we have cadence. So the touch points to the teams, very important. And then the other thing I would say is also the response, a pulse of the response, because it might be good, diba? Alam mo naman mga ideas natin, it sounds nice and it's good when we listen to it ourselves. But we never know until people actually respond to it. So how do we know that we do checks and balance also and feedback from the stakeholders. So we listen to the parents. They're very, very important stakeholders for us. We have our coaches as well. We have our partners for us. So many different aspects of the business that we try to, get a pulse of and check from time to time. So I think that's very crucial for any business, for that matter, that we get to listen to them as well. Yeah.
I would also add, I got from way back, I got like an informal tip about setting up a business. You don't set up a business to earn, really. You don't make it to make money. It's not that. It's very shallow if you think about that. But it has to be built on something you love and something you're willing to go through the storm with. Parang ganyan. Parang jowa na willing ka mag-invest. Ganyan. So,
yeah.
So it needs to be anchored on that. It needs to be anchored with what you love, kung ano hilig mo. Basta something that you're willing to weather through. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, to add into Leah's point, I think what's important, especially throughout the pandemic, is how you're able to pivot, no matter the circumstances. So we pivoted. We were kind of in a way late when we pivoted. No? So the pandemic started March, but we actually launched June. But we really bought time to plan it out, iron the details out. And up until now, we keep pivoting pa rin. And we're not afraid to try things, to try new things. So yeah, the recent one that you saw that with Kiefer and Eliza, that's actually a summer sports camp. It was just an idea, and that we
Mhm.
really wanted to try it out. Is there a market for it? Do parents see the value of this? Because we see the value, and we wanted to try it out. So yeah, just keep pivoting, just keep trying new things. You'll be surprised with the results. And every time, whether it works or it doesn't, you learn something new.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ang galing, no? And I'm pretty much very excited in this conversation. Also for Game On Sports in general. Because, you started, guys. I was part of the interview, Miss Tel, if I would share it to you, no? Yung email nila sa akin, if you can actually recreate, write a 15-minute program for this kind of sport. Naalala ko pa yan. And then I got an interview with the three of them, no? Coach Leah, Coach Rizan, and Coach Danica. Kinabahan talaga ako. Lord, please, sana smooth yung interview ko today. Please. So, we have,
I still remember.
with Coach Leah pala, we have a common friend, no? Coach Pio Solon.
Yes, Coach P.
So, ganon. And I think may interest na tanong si Coach, si Miss Tel, and then I want the three of you guys to also answer this. Both personally and also as an organization, no? This question. Sige, Miss Tel, go.
Just to highlight lang din po to what Coach Leah mentioned a while ago, we wanted to know lang what is your biggest setback po? Like as, yun nga po sabi ni Coach Pao, as an organization and as an individual po.
Wow. O, sige, I'll start Sige.
Yan.
Wow. For me personally, and maybe in my athlete life, was getting injured. I last 2018, I tore my ACL, my meniscus, and I sprained my MCL. So it was an unhappy triad. And that was during the time that I was growing around the sport of rugby. So I think athletes can relate to this, but the moment that life takes sports away from you, that's like the most heartbreaking moment of, I'd say, your whole playing career or your athlete life. And
Agree.
and true enough, when that moment happened, I was training in Ultra. Yun na feel ko parang dalawang pencil, papak, gano'n. Hindi ko naman alam kung ano yung feeling ng ACL, 'di ba? So I thought it was just something wrong. I mean, something different. I didn't know that it would be, the dreaded unhappy triad. So the next day, it all sank into me like, wow, wala na. I can't play. And I was really gunning to try out for the national team. I was gunning to really be active in kahit the club level of rugby. But that was it. And I got depressed. I'll tell you, I got depressed because that made me, nga, parang put my love life with sports on hold. And and the nice thing about that though is you see the people who are willing to come out and support you. Um, Not financially, no. It's more of being there for you, checking up on you, and just having your back. I think yun naman din yung beauty of a setback. And and as you go along, yung mga masasakit na therapy, ganyan, hindi naman yung it's not just about getting back to playing sports. It's the fact that people are cheering you on that would really keep you going. So I think that resiliency, yung mental toughness, sobrang lumabas yon during that time. So yeah, with a great setback nga, that would be like the biggest achievement then out of that. Um, I guess for Game on Sports, setback natin siguro was, I guess, really trying to start it. I don't know if you guys agree with me, but that was like a period of, ano ba, tutuloy ba natin to? And it was in the middle of a pandemic, like ECU and everything. Na nakaka-dishearten yun. We've been working on it for how many months? In fact, even with with a consultant from Singapore and everything. Alam mo yun, invested na tayo, pero it's like all the factors don't play right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then with that setback, lumalabas yung resiliency and just your heart to pull through. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that when we would have those conversations and really asking a lot of questions. And I think for me, related to that as well is recognizing limitations. I think, fundamental to also athletes is having confidence in yourself, confidence in your abilities, but also, I guess, having that humility to recognize when you can't do it on your own. And really, I think I have it both ways in terms of also putting up business. And, I have my own practice, which I have on my own. And then I have here with Game On Sports, two other very passionate, very capable ladies who greatly complement what I cannot do. And I think that it goes through a process, but I think both personally and professionally, I would say that that's been like one of the biggest lessons that I would, I'm still learning, but I've recognized to be able to really see and come face to face with what you can't do, and and just admit it that you can't and you need the help of others. And I think for most people right now, that's very difficult because at some point you want to do everything on your own, but you can't. Diba? May limits din tayo as people. So in whatever roles we have. So I'm very grateful for that I have these two. And I think the very reason why we've gotten this far is because of the support that these people have, and also the people that we've tapped into. I mean, like, you, Coach Pao, and everybody else who have been part of the journey. We've tapped into your strengths as well to complement ours. So I think that's one critical thing to be able to recognize. Yeah.
For me, naman, yeah, I echo both of them when we started Game On. There's so many challenges. And I think personally, looking at it, I had my own, like Leah, but not injury, but more for me like a missed opportunity. I was actually selected for this program in the US with uh, women in sports. I was going to attend this women in sports program by the U.S. Department of State. So I was selected by the U.S. Embassy here, um, 2 years back, in 2017. However, I had to take my MBA, so I deferred. And then when I got back, I was offered again. But since I was starting a new job, um, well, my dream job now, where I work in Deutsche Bank now, I had to put it aside once again. So it was a very
Mm.
good opportunity, being able to network with women leaders in sports, with the ESPN Women in Sports Committee. So, but then again, it was a very tough decision because at one point, yes, passion fuels everything, that's for sure, no? Pero you have to be rooted into the reality and weighing your options. And then at that point in time, if it means having my career suffer, or my long-term plans then suffer. And also at that time we were really discussing Game On Sports na rin. So I was thinking maybe this is not the right time. So I think that's one of the major learnings, humbling yourself into not just jumping into anything without taking also calculated risks,
Mhm.
and looking at things long term, or for now it's delayed gratification, so to speak. And in Game On, that's something that we've actually been applying and continuously applying in the things that we want to do. We want to do so many things. We can tell you everything, but honestly, we have to prioritize. So that's where prioritization matrices come, and that's where DK helps us a lot as well. So yeah, that's really.
Thank you for sharing that po. That is very insightful, Coach. I am very
Oh,
happy and
sobra.
part of this conversation.
Ako rin, actually, it's good kasi parang this is the side that I do not see while on the meetings, on the text messages. These are the stories
Mhm.
that, that everybody would know and would want to also intentionally ask that is, no. So yeah, I think I think we have one more question for you guys, no. Ayokong pahabain kasi marami pa, actually mga 10 pa nasa ano ko, frontal head ko. So anyway, and I think it's nice to hear these stories kasi I think on my end, one is setbacks always puts us into perspective, no? And then teaches a lot of lessons. And I always tell people this, that setback is not what you call setback as dictionary would call it, but it's you being set to the back so that you'll be able to see the whole bigger picture. And for you, once you see the whole bigger picture, you get to let it sink in and you learn a lot of lessons. Quotable quotes from Coach Pao, everybody. So anyway, so,
Wonderful.
so I
Quote
mean,
that.
and it's nice because you see these I would say palaban ladies, no, in this generation of the pandemic, and you have these stories at your back na dala-dala. You have these experiences that taught you along the way, and you already has been shaped with these experiences. And I would also say hearing from that, Game on Sports would be this way if you weren't able to experience the things that you've experienced back then. And I appreciate. Thank you very much for sharing that for all of us, and hopefully you guys, the listeners, would learn something from this story of these three lovely ladies. Ante, last question.
Ito na po, last question, parang to our listeners po, siguro to our parents then who are probably listening to us right now, and sa mga bata din siguro who wants to play any sport or to enter or mag-enroll din po sa Game on Sports. Parang if there is like a pointers po ba, is there like a pointer that you wanted to share to them na palagi po nilang kailangan tandaan in their mind? Kapag once na pinasok po nila yung paglaro ba or kahit anong sports po, ganyan.
Sino?
Honestly, from the name itself, to just be game on, you jump into things. I mean, you jump into our classes, having that game on mentality. It's something new. It's something because we teach different sports for our multi-sport classes, no? And that's one of our, our bread and butter, that we really did that class in order for kids to be able to discover different sports at every session. And having a game on attitude, coming in, being very open and welcome to learning new things, it's super important, especially for the founding days when you are starting into sports. So for me, for the parents, just always support your children in whatever they want to get into. This journey for sports is a conversation between a child and a parent. And it will go far along the way if it's something that you share together.
Actually, a lot of questions that I encounter are about how do we do it? Parang, pandemic, how are you able to teach sports? Or mga ganyan na, okay, maliit lang yung kwarto ko okay lang ba yun? Maliit lang yung house namin, okay lang ba yun? My only message is just go for it. If your child wants to try something new, there's so many platforms like Game on Sports na who can make a different experience, learning experience for your child. So like what Trizan said, na just support when it comes to trying out new things, setting the foundation. Game on Sports doors are always open.
Yeah, very well. They've said it, but it's very much a journey for both the child and the parent. So I think for one, really the communication about what the child likes, and also what the parent would support, not just in the good times but also in the failure, in the not so good times. So I think that that's also one thing that we're very mindful, that it's very much the journey is also taking the parents. So we also do talk to the parents as much as we can. We have open communications with them, because it's very much a journey for both. So yeah, I think just keeping that in mind as well would be very helpful. Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you very much for that. No, it's really nice to have you guys in the show. But before we end, also, how can they reach out to Game on Sports? Facebook, Instagram, which account?
Yeah, so
This one, no?
well, yes, yes, yes. So the parents or anyone who's curious about what we do, in case di kayo pa nakinig, but you can check out our accounts at Instagram, Game on Sports PH, and the same handle on Facebook, Game on Sports PH. Or you can also email us at discover@gameonsportsph.com.
Yeah, and so yeah, there you go, guys. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to actually send them a message in Instagram and Facebook. So yeah, thank you
Awesome.
very much for the very inspiring conversation from you guys. Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you so much for
Thank
having
you.
us. Yeah, we were very excited to be able to share our story. And
Yeah,
yeah, we're looking forward to many other collaborations in the future.
yeah. Thank you,
Yeah,
Coach
remember in
Pao.
this pandemic, sports never stops. So,
Mhm.
our doors are, lagi sinabi ni Lia, no? Our doors are open. We're a one-stop shop for everything sports for kids.
ayan, so exciting. So yeah, if you're listening right now, please don't hesitate to send them a message and buzz in if you got inspired. Also from this conversation, please do not hesitate to also comment or send us a message on your favorite part in the conversation. So thank you very much again, guys, for the very inspiring talk with
Thank
you,
you.
coaches.
Thank you, thank
Thank
you.
Thank
you, Tel and
you.
Coach
Thank you
Pao.
so much, Tel, Coach Pao.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you. That is it for our episode today, Coach Pao. I know our truth seekers are looking forward for the upcoming guests that we will invite for the program. Believe me, we are also sharing the same enthusiasm that you are feeling right now. Right, Coach?
Yes, sir, that's really right. Also, this has been DGY Academy. To know more about our future guests and events, you may follow us on our Facebook page, DGY Academy, and our Instagram at DGY Academy. Fuel your curiosities, be motivated daily.
Again, this has been Unspoken Truth with DGY Academy. Have a great day and stay safe. Thank you, Paul.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you
you.
guys.
Thank you.